All right. Nick Kirby is he's working on getting his camera situated. So Nick Kirby's going to be in the house, but he's got some technical difficulties here. And I know for a fact, chat, I am probably behind you because that's just what happens when you have the old cable. Can we just get this one? Is that too much to ask, chat? Can we just get this one? We just need 3 outs. That's all. 3 outs. That's hilarious. Mouse cop. Let's go ahead. It's a fake baby, by the way. It's a baby doll. Don't call child services on your boy. All right. Let's go. More important things, chat. Come on, lock it in. We need likes. We need likes. Need them fast. Also, can we be honest? Sweet Tarts, Mini Chews, an elite level snack. And I just so happen to maybe chew them when I'm nervous. All right. Mouse Cop told me there's a strikeout, so I always trust him. Man, he's as reliable as they come. He's as reliable as they come. Mouse Cop with the K. Would have been cool just to score like 7 runs tonight, right? Not have to worry about this. Nah, it's too easy. Yeah, so far. Not going to say it, but so far. I'm not going to say it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed out is Nick Kirby right now? Boy, he is absolutely stressing. That's 2 of them. Yep. Got 2. We got 2 outs. We got 2 outs. Let them know. Let them know how many we got, chat. Let's go. It's called Louisiana Bayou. Thanks for playing, Valar. Nice swing. That's a really good swing, big guy. It's a good swing. Just missed it. You just missed it. I think you should swing it the next one. You'll get it. Come on. One time. Tell you what, sometimes I look around my house. I haven't been somewhere in a while. I don't even know where this stuff comes from. Is that an out? That's an out. Ah, that's an out. Okay. We've made it. We have made it. The Cincinnati Reds have entered the second half. They've entered the second half. Nick Kirby, he's figuring it out, man. He's surviving and advancing. Let's do a show. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, has it been a long time for that. I'm going to have to dig around to find the basketball. Nick, I'd ask how you're doing, but I know you're just rushing around the house trying to figure out how to work technology at this moment. But the Reds won, so all is well. I hope you're doing okay, bud. Oh, no. We got to have, you got to turn your microphone on, Nick. You got to turn your microphone on. Oh, no. Nick, I mean, no, I don't have you, big dog. Do you? It's gonna maybe even be like your phone. Is your phone on silent or something, or no? Oh no. Which, I mean, sometimes life, it is what it is, man. It's a struggle fest. But you know what? This is for all the chat. It has been a long, long time, my friends. I'm going to try to give Nick a chance here to figure this out. And I kind of want to say, before we get into the show, that I think we finally got him. I think Nick Kirby has figured it out. Let's see. Let's check in with Nick. Nick,
how are we looking?
You're doing great, Nick. You're doing great. You've never been better, big dog. You look great too. You look like a big journalist. You look the part. I'll tell you that, Nick.
Let's go. That's what I get for updating my computer today.
Is that what happened? You did the old you did the old reboot there. Boy Wonder. Boy Wonder coming in with a big super chat already. Reds win, Reds win, Reds win. Buy the hype. Ellie is good. Tyler Stevenson is a catcher. I mean, I'm not going to argue with him on the last point. Not today, at least. Nick, I know you're probably trying to gather your thoughts here. I don't mean to put too much on your plate here at once.
Did we win? Did we win?
We won the baseball game. Yeah, you think I'd be acting like this? You think I'd be acting like this if we didn't know? Hell no. I don't even know if I'd showed up for the show. I was going to be so depressed. There's a good amount of things that I think that are relatively interesting to discuss. The box score recap is something we always do. Do you want to do that now? Do you want to wait? Where are we at with the box score recap?
Well, I got a beautiful box score recap through the 8th inning, so we'll you can fill in the rest.
All right, yeah, I'll be happy to fill in the rest for you. You kick it to me. You kick it to me for the 8th inning on. All right.
All right. Well, the Reds had 4 rookies starting at first base, second base, third base, and shortstop. That would be Christian Encarnacion-Strand, Matt McLean, Ellie De La Cruz, and Spencer Steer. Last time they had 4 rookies starting in those 4 positions was in 1992. That, of course, courtesy of Joel Luckup. Will Benson had a 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. That put the Reds up 3-0. It was Benson's 6th of the year, and it went 409 feet. And that would be all the Reds' offense for the day, and it was just enough. Graham Ashcraft kept his run of success rolling, allowing 2 runs over 6 innings. He did get into a couple jams during the game. In the 2nd, the Giants had 1st and 3rd with no one out, but he got back-to-back strikeouts. Then, after the 2nd strikeout, Tyler Stevenson threw a bullet to gun down Blake Sable, trying to steal second base to end the inning. Then the 6th, the Giants had the bases loaded with no one out. Ashcraft got a double play, started on a nice turn by first baseman Christian Encarnacion-Strand. Then he got Mike Yastrzemski to pop up to get out of the inning, which is 1 run allowed and a 3-1 lead. Ashcraft did allow a fairly cheap Great American Ballpark special home run, had a 120 expected batting average to the first batter in the 7th inning. He was pulled at 96 pitches. Ian Jabot, lights out in the 7th. Perfect inning. 2 strikeouts. Lucas Sims got through the 8th, and then I'm assuming Alexis Diaz got us through the 9th to preserve a 3-2 win for your Redlegs.
Oh, the queen would have been proud, Nick. The queen would have been proud. R.I.P., but I'm telling you, she was looking over him tonight. I can promise you that. He was looking great. His stuff was moving around. All credit to the queen. In regards to the 9th inning, I know you didn't get a chance to see it, but Alexis Diaz, I didn't want to say it out loud during the inning. But I'm not saying he's back, but it certainly looked like the Alexis Diaz of old. Guys were swinging at the old slider that's like landing at 58 feet and about to hit their foot. And he got 2 punch outs and then got a weak little ground ball back to him that he was able to flip over there to CES to end the ball game. And Diaz, I don't want to say he's back because that would mean that he was never that would mean at some point he left. And I don't know if it's fair to say he ever left, but I'm trying to keep it together. Nick is what this show is amazing. What a dumb show we do here. Graham Ashcraft, let's talk about him. What inning was that? The 5th inning? You just did the box score recap, and I was not obviously not locked in. The 5th inning, I believe it was.
The 6th.
6th inning. Okay, the 6th inning was the game. That was the defining moment in the game. The Giants had bases loaded, nobody out. They were able to get 1 run across. Good job by. Well, I don't want to say a good job. That would be a strong term to use. I'd say good job of Ashcraft of getting himself out of his own mess that he made. I don't know what it is sometimes about our staff, and maybe it's a league thing where I just don't watch enough baseball to see this. But sometimes when our guys lose their command, boy, do they lose it. It's long gone for just a short amount of time, and then they figure it out. But my golly, I can't believe he threw that many balls in a row, to be quite honest, and then had the audacity to be able to come back and get out of the inning in the way that he did. So bases loaded, nobody out. I think he hit a guy, walked 2 straight guys after that, so the bases were loaded, and then he kind of got a chopping ground ball to CES. And also, I want to say that double play was not a routine double play. Did you obviously got a chance to see it? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the one started by Encarncaion-Strand.
Correct.
He made a nice pick, and then great turn. I think it was by McLean, right?
Correct.
It was bang bang at first base.
No, it wasn't. No. Ellie threw the ball. Ellie threw it.
Yeah, it was close though. It was a big play in the game, and obviously, turned out to really loom large as the offense wasn't really able to get anything rolling. I thought that. Not to jump too far, I thought the Reds had pretty good at-bats tonight. I didn't feel like it was some of these other games where, there's a lot of poor at-bats that resulted in the low scoring.
I think that's relatively fair to say, but my only concern is this offense is concerning me when we go long stretches of time and don't get anybody on. Long stretches of time. I mean, I think they retired 14 or 15 straight guys in a row. It's just, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here on a day in which we won a baseball game, but this offense has to add on. We have to add on. Like three runs, and again, it won us the game, but you're setting yourself up for the bullpen to blow, quote unquote, blow the game when you can't add on in those innings, which we were begging to add on. And there was some balls that got hit hard. I'm not saying there wasn't. But, man, we need to add on when we have a chance.
Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz 0 for 4 hard-hit balls. Start there. The Reds did only have 4 hits total on the day, but they had an expected batting average of 351. So that's why I feel it wasn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I didn't even look at those numbers before. That was just I felt like overall they did put some good swings on the ball, and the StatCast does match up to that.
Oh, that's fair. I'm like I said, I'm not. What's the right term to use here? I'm not suggesting they didn't put some good swings on the ball. It's just again I guess that's all you can do when you go to the plate. But we've always bragged about how this team's able to manufacture runs, or they find ways to get on base, or they work an at bat and they get a walk, and the next thing you know, they steal second base, and we prided ourselves on that for much of this year. And now I just want to bring up that it doesn't feel like we're scoring the same way that we used to score when we were excited about this offense. And I don't know if that's fair or not fair. And I think a lot of that has to do with Ellie having some struggles of late, because he's a guy that if he gets on base, he's more than likely probably going to get a bag or steal a bag, and it's going to lead to some action or some runs. But jumping into Will Benson here, Will Benson, I tell you what, you talk about a guy that has shown you and us and everybody how hard baseball can be and how hard you can take it and what confidence can do for a guy. This is still the same player, Nick. I got to remind everybody, this was still the same player that for the first 2 or 3 weeks that he was up here on opening day and then, through April there, I mean, you polled the Cincinnati Reds fans and they would have told you they'd be happy if they'd never seen him ever again. And I'm being honest about that. That's not hyperbole. Am I lying?
No, you're not. You're not. I got another point here though in a second on Benson.
Well, go ahead. Don't let me stop you.
Benson's been incredible. I love Will Benson. I've been a fan since day one, but I feel like so many times we get so hot and cold on these players. Like everyone's like, oh my gosh, Benson's hot. Get him to the top of the lineup. Like, can we just let this guy continue to build confidence and get comfortable before we have to rush him up to the number 2 hole? Like, he was awful at the beginning of the year. He sent down, he worked on his stuff. He's back. He's comfortable. We do not have to throw this guy right back into the number 2 hole. Let him continue to build on this. The last thing you want to do is put him up there. And what happens earlier in the year where he tries to do too much happens again. Like, I don't see the trade-off of moving him up. And every time he does something, I feel like it's move him up. And I'm just like, yeah, come on. Let's have a little patience here.
No, I don't mind leaving him where he's at because if he's a guy that's hot, I mean, you only lead off, ultimately one time. And I know that Ellie's everyone's like, oh, should Ellie lead off or Ellie shouldn't? Like, listen, let's give Ellie as many chances to get on base as he possibly can because we know that Ellie's a cheat code once he gets on base. And I bring that up because I think that that's a major factor in David Bell's decision on where he bats guys in regards to where Ellie hits. He doesn't want to have, no offense to Tyler Stevenson, but if Tyler Stevenson is hitting in the 9 hole, he leads off an inning with a base hit, and next thing you know, Ellie hits one in the gap, you're slowing my man down. Or Ellie walks, and you got Stevenson, perhaps Stevenson's on second base. You can't do a whole lot with that. If Will Benson's in front of him, and I know that there's a chance that Stevenson could hit in the 8 hole, and he still could be in front of Ellie when he comes up, but the chances are much smaller in that situation. So I think that when you add up all the things that can go right in keeping him in the 9 hole, and then you add up what he could possibly help in the 2 or 3 hole, and he's not going to be hitting 3 hole, but you get my point. I don't think it adds up enough to move him. I have a question, Mr. Lineup. Can I call you Mr. Lineup Guy? Is that disrespectful? I think that's a fair thing. I don't mean it disrespectful. I just mean it as a guy that doesn't think the lineup's a big deal. Do you think putting India back in the leadoff spot tomorrow might happen? No?
That would be stupid.
What? I thought the lineup didn't matter.
I mean, I don't think...
I put him in a pretzel, boys. What do you think about that, Nick?
I just think it would be dumb.
Why?
I think it would be dumb. I don't think it would matter all that much over the course of 162 games to how many runs the Reds score or not. It matters who's in the lineup versus who's not in the lineup. There's a million studies on this. It's not me. I don't make this stuff up, I swear. I'm not smart enough to understand this stuff. I just know. Why would you... What? I believe...
Hey,
what you can do towards maximizing each player's most effectiveness matters more than the structure. Whereas, like what I just said before, I believe Will Benson hitting 9th, if he's more comfortable, yeah, sure. If you're talking the absolute most optimal lineup, he's probably batting a little higher. But that trade-off, if you think that where he's batting is going to help him develop the most, is I think it far outweighs that. So some of that old school thinking, I think, is actually very, very valid in that when you're talking about hitting a guy in a certain spot because you think that it'd be the best for him. I definitely think there's some value to that.
The only thing I would add is I do think that if Benson keeps playing this well, you move him. You probably do move him to the 2 hole, and you take Friedel, and you probably move him to the 9 hole because you don't really sacrifice a ton of speed there. And I 100%. Think, it's a matter of time. I'm with you. I'm not saying they need to rush and change him. And listen, we're both on the same page with this. It's not that big of a deal. Benson hitting 9th. Put it this way: if Benson keeps doing this and hitting this well, it's hard for me to want to change anything because it's like, why mess with something that's not broken? That's part of my thought process with this. So, I'm not hell-bent one way or the other, as they say.
100%. I think for sure, if you're trying to just build completely off a computer, Friel batting ninth makes the most sense, and Benson batting higher, maybe not second. I don't know about second, but him batting higher somewhere makes more sense for that. But again, we're talking about over the course of 162 games, your optimal lineup being the difference of a couple runs. And if you take the trade-off of, okay, well, I think Will Benson hitting lower, it's more likely that that's going to help him be more successful than those. You might make up those 2 runs and then some. So that's why I just don't get into the weeds too much on the lineups, unless you're doing something just completely egregious. Like, let's say the Reds decided to bat their worst hitter leadoff, like probably Tyler Stevenson right now. That would be egregious, and that would be dumb. Like what the Reds did back in 2012, where they had Zach Cozart and Drew Stubbs, their 2 worst on base guys, hitting first and second. Yeah, that makes a pretty big difference. But we're talking probably the difference between Friel and Benson in terms of their OPS at the end of the year. What's the difference going to be? Is it really going to be more than 20, 30 points?
The only argument I would have back to that, Nick, is that the difference between being in second place and first place in this division is going to be 3 or 4 games, and the difference between winning 3 or 4 games sometimes might be the difference in those 20 to 30 points. It's a fine marginal game. There's not and I'm not going to use the cliche, a game of inches, et cetera, et cetera. It all comes down to feel for me. I wouldn't think twice if they put Benson in the 2 hole, but I'm not going to think twice if they leave him in the 9 hole for quite some time. And unless he's hitting, unless he's hitting 320 since he came back up for the next, 30 days, then I'd consider, hey, maybe I make a move here. But, next thing on the rundown, I'll try to stick with that before we go sideways on a tangent that I'm sure will come up, is the Reds bullpen. I was concerned this game because it just feels like when you score 3 and you let a team hang around, you're just asking for the bullpen to blow it, and they did it. So kudos to them. I'm thankful that this Reds team has guys that are valuable in the bullpen. Ian Jabot. Do you make much of Ian Jabot getting more and more and more opportunities in high leverage situations? He seems like one of the guys at the top of the list for David. I mean, he does. I don't know what the numbers bear, but it does feel like Ian Jabot comes in a good amount of the time when it's a relatively meaningful spot.
He's got a 3.21 ERA. He's got a lower ERA. He's got a lower ERA than Lucas Sims.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think Ian Jabot's better than I don't think.
Is he better than Buck Farmer?
But I think you make a case. I think they're probably. I think Diaz and Sims are pretty clearly your 1 and 2, and then I think the rest of them you can honestly make a case who's hot or cold at the moment is the better option. But I feel like Ian Jabot, he's had some games where he's lost some inherited runners to score.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, when he's had these clean innings, he's looked really, really good. I feel like he's been kind of underappreciated. Do
you have the ability to look up or see quickly of what he does in clean innings? Because I know that his inherited runners has to be pretty garbage. Based off of my brain.
Yeah, it was high.
I mean, he comes into games sometimes with guys on second and third, and he gives up home runs, and yeah, he's only given up 1 run, but his inherited runners probably isn't all that great. But anyways, enough of our slander of Ian Jabot. He throws the ball relatively well, and in fact, tonight I thought that his stuff looked really good. Do you think that there's something to this? And I know maybe people will make fun of me for saying this. I think that the way the circumstances have gone the start of the second half, these guys were playing a little angry tonight. At least the guys that were coming out of the pen looked like I mean, I'm not saying they don't always try hard and all that, but it seemed like they were coming out there relatively pretty pissed off. And I don't know, maybe I read too much into that. Maybe that's how I feel. So it's flowing over into my eyes, and I'm trying to see something that isn't there. But Ian Jabot's velocity was pretty damn good. His cutter was great. Lucas Sims was Lucas Sims, and then obviously Diaz looked about as good as he's looked in a long time. So I know you didn't get a chance to see the last 2 innings or inning there, but I don't know if you want to add to that or bring up another point for the bullpen perspective.
Sorry, I'm still trying to find the inherited runners.
Oh, it's not good.
Can't remember where this went.
It's not good. It's bad. In fact, I would. You want to make a guess right now before you find it for sure. I'm willing to bet that Ian Jabot gives up the most inherited runs scored on the team.
All right, inherited runners. It's actually Alex Young.
Oh
no,
yeah.
no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, it's Alex Young's allowed 11, but he allowed a grand slam, so that really kind of threw that.
And
all right,
Rizzo.
All right, so Jabot has allowed 7 inherited runners to score, 33%. He actually has a higher percentage though than Young because he's been used more. So he's allowed 7 runs. How many total runs has he allowed? He's allowed 17 total runs. So I mean that's a large portion of the runs that he's allowed have been. I know he's allowed 20 runs. That's earned runs, yeah. So
listen, I'm not trying to kill Ian Jabot. I'm just saying tonight. I don't know what our bullpen usage is. I don't know who was available. But in a must-win, and I call it a must-win, it's a must-win game tonight. It was a must-win game. You lose this game, and I'm telling you, you fall another game behind the Brewers, the wheels are legitimately falling off. So
yeah, and I think if it would have been the bottom of the order, I think he might have gone to Lucas Sims first. But it was I think he came in for the six hole hitter. So it was a good spot for Jabot too. I mean, that's the spot you need Ian Jabot or Buck Farmer or Fernando Cruz or whoever else is that next guy after those two to come through. So it's a good spot for him, and he came through.
Brando99 is begging us to bring up the fact that CES absolutely needs to hit fourth. Now, Brando99, I'm not sure if you're new to the program, and if you are, welcome in. I love you. I'm glad you're here. Nick Kirby, my esteemed co-host, and one that I love dearly. I'm thankful that he comes on this show every single day. He doesn't think that lineups matter. He goes by the Bill James School of Baseball, which is that statistically speaking, over the course of like 162 games, traditionally you know, for lack of a better term, where you hit in the lineup doesn't make a huge difference. I did point out to Nick, though, that in that actual scientific data that he pointed out, he also said that it was not a direct correlation with the actual team's success. The other thing I want to point out is Bill James is the same guy who said that you couldn't steal a base statistically off of a pitcher or a catcher. That wasn't a real thing either. And then a bunch of people started saying, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. He went back to his computer, punched it in real fast, and said, oh, yeah, well, maybe you can steal on the pitcher. So you never know. It might be like smoking was good for you back in the 70s, and then in 2000s they realized smoking isn't good for you. Maybe that'll be the same thing for the lineup, or maybe it'll stand the test of time, like the earth is round, and the earth is still round now. So who knows which way it'll go, unless you ask Kyrie Irving, of course, then the earth is flat. But outside of that, I don't know, Nick. We'll see how it ultimately goes. CES for me, just let him hit seventh. Okay, guys, the lineup isn't that big of a deal. For those that want to fight the good fight and say the lineup matters a little bit, let's not go overboard and say that CES hitting fourth versus seventh is probably a big difference.
We also got a shout out. It's not Bill James that did this research. The main research is from Thom Tango Tiger.
What's the link that you share?
Oh, I don't know. It's from inside the book. I'd have to find it.
It's Bill James, but he is here nor there.
Well, I think the original research came from Thom Tango.
All right, Tongo.
But again,
here's where I'm at. I'm not discrediting the lineup thing from you. I really am. In fact, I try to embrace this mindset of analytics, and I think I like the idea of you bringing valuable points as to how you value performance. Quite frankly, that's analytics was brought into the game not because there was a bunch of nerds who just wanted to start watching baseball. It was brought into the game because it started to show merit, and a lot of teams realized that if they didn't jump on that bandwagon, that they were going to get left behind. And that is a win for the analytic community, if you want to call it that. I mean, anybody that just completely dispels analytics is quite naive. The only argument back to the analytical thought is that this game's played by humans and there's psychology involved, and it's not just this run out and video game that we're playing here. So there are things that matter that you can't antiquate. So it's like I don't know, Nick, how your thoughts are in regards to like lineups matter, but it sounds stupid. But if you got a guy at the top of the lineup that's fiery, that gets excited. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but if they get on base and they're all fired up, the energy that can create, I don't know. I think that there's something to it that you can't just put a math book on. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but in general.
I don't know about the fiery part, but I think the comfortable part is important. And I think TJ Friedl is very comfortable hitting at the top of the lineup. I think he's proven that. And we're talking about a guy that's a 361 on base percentage that's batting second at the top of the lineup. This isn't some guy that's not getting on base. He's getting on base at a very, very high rate this year. So, again, number one, lineups don't matter that much. Number two, I agree. Will Benson is I think projected to be a better hitter than TJ Friedl, but I'm actually going with more the old school thinking on the fact that I think it's probably better just to be safe to make sure Will Benson's more comfortable hitting ninth instead of pushing him up to second for what's the difference of, are we really adding that much value where we could be moving him up there, putting more pressure on him, and then you're creating a problem that's not there.
Don't you think there's a little bit of okay, the not that this is an argument, it's not that at all. The point made by Brando was that you move CES up from 7th to 4th. I said, oh, no big deal. The only thing that I am irritated with if they continue to do this is putting Indy in the middle of this lineup is absolute blasphemy. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can't, but you can't sit here, Nick, and say, oh, lineups don't matter, and then agree with me when I say if you bat Indy at 5th, you're an idiot. Like, if this guy continues to hit in double plays over and over and over and over and over again, I don't want him coming up in crucial spots who just so happens to hit right in between or right after our best guys that get on base. Like, I'm not suggesting I'm not suggesting India should sit on the bench. I know there's people in the chat that are like, oh, sit India. India's the worst. Jonathan India, I promise, is going to play better baseball this year. He has to. It's almost impossible for him not to get hot. And I say almost impossible because that's the same rationale that we use for Eugenio Suarez for an eternity, and it just never happened. It's also the same maybe rationale that we used for Aristides Aquino, and it just never happened. So it doesn't always work out, but I'd like to think that Jonathan India, given some reps, is going to figure it out. And if he doesn't, that's fine, but I'd rather him do it 7th, 8th, and 9th in the lineup and not 5th.
I actually kind of agree with the chat. I mean, if you're running out the best 9 players, Jonathan India is not one of the best 9 players. Let's just call it what it is right now. Now, the good thing for Jonathan India is the rest of the team needs rest. Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McLean, Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion-Strand, Will Benson, they do not need to be run out there every single day the rest of the year. They've never played 162 games. So there's going to be enough times to put them in there. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking the best 9 players, I don't see a case how Jonathan India, especially when you add in his defense, is one of the best 9 players right now at this present time. But on one point, like, move Christian Encarnacion-Strand 4th. Like, Jake Fraley's an elite hitter against right-handed pitching. Like, if Christian Encarnacion-Strand hits right-handed pitching as good as Jake Fraley does, he's going to be a superstar because he's going to be able to hit left-handed pitching. Right. So, like, I mean,
I think it might be a little overreaction. The guy's played 3 games. Just saying.
Jake Fraley is an elite hitter against right-handed pitching.
Yeah. It's also nice. Maybe I'm being goofy, but it's also nice. Like, I don't know if you've ever eaten like a a nice dinner, or you have something that you're saving for last that you know that you're going to enjoy, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to eat that yet. I'm enjoying my meal. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this. Kind of like dessert. Maybe you're saving that dessert that you really, really like for later in the evening. I kind of like having guys at the bottom of my lineup that can actually do something. You know what I'm saying? Like I when I see Will Benson coming up second, he's up second and he's in the 9-hole. I'm like, okay, I can get a little excited for that. I also like seeing CES hit 7th sometimes because, like, okay, he might run into one later in the game. When they go through the heart of your order, and then they have a guy that they might be able to try to bring in, which they do, Nick. They try to bring in maybe a guy that they wouldn't traditionally use in a high leverage spot against the bottom of the order that, they would have never brought in against the 2, 3, 4 hitters, and CES is sitting there waiting for you at 7. And then you got Benson at 9. So I don't hate that. I don't hate it at all. I don't think it's worth really discussing wholeheartedly. How big of a deal do you think, I guess that's a dumb question. I was gonna say, how big of a deal do you think it is from the Brewers winning? Do you feel like we is it just more or less like, let's focus on ourselves, not really scoreboard watch for a while, or are you in a position where you just kind of, I don't know, you keep an eye on it because it is what it is?
I mean, it matters for the wild card race. I mean, the Reds actually gained a game on the Phillies because the Phillies are the team that holds the 3rd wild card spot right now. So, yeah, I mean, winning does matter. I mean, I get what you're saying about how really if the Reds had lost and the Brewers lost, it would be the same thing, Central. But they did pick up a game on the Phillies. So
right.
It's good to have more than one option. Obviously, the goal is the NL Central. That's the most realistic opportunity. But it could fall in your lap. I mean, you're talking about the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Marlins. Those are the teams that are ahead of you that are competing for those 3 wildcard spots. I mean, we're not necessarily all bona fide for sure contenders going into the year, other than maybe the Phillies. I mean, the D-backs, Giants, and Marlins, I don't think anyone was projecting any one of those teams to make the playoffs. So you could see a couple of those teams completely floundering down the stretch. So it's just good to have more paths. So yeah, I mean, that would be my only thing I would kind of looking at with that.
That one guy mentions that the Cards won again. Hey, the Cardinals are winning baseball games right now. They've buried themselves a pretty good hole, but, the Cardinals are who they are. We'll worry about them at another time. I'm not too concerned about them until we have to be. I'm more focused on the fact that we've won one baseball game since we started playing in the second half. So let's see if we can't win.
Stop the skid.
Let's see if we can't just win some more games. Let's worry about ourselves, not check the other guy's lawn type thing. We got some Reds MILB. I did get a Tortugas hat that I know that you've seen. I'm excited about that. Looks nice. It's enjoyable. My favorite thing about when you order minor league baseball merchandise, and I don't know if you've done this, but there's no doubt about it. They send somebody into the team shop that's in the stadium. They pick it. They throw that thing in like the USPS mail. They handwrite the label on there. They did it for Chattanooga and they did it in Daytona. It's like that just must be a minor league thing. There's no warehouse. There's no warehouse, baby. There's no like automated thing. They're handwriting the address, sending it straight from the team shop, which I like.
I like it. You ready for some Reds MILB?
I've never been more ready.
All right. Hang tight. All right, start off with the Louisville Bats. They won 12-4. Melvin Marte 2 for 5 with a double. Jose Barrera 1 for 3. Stuart Fairchild had 2 hits. A couple really good performances down in the bullpen. Ricky Karcher 2 shutout innings, struck out 3. And then Eduardo Salazar, his first time he's pitched, I think he was on the IL. He hadn't pitched in a couple weeks, but he pitched 2 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts. A guy we saw early in the year. Just another nice guy to have as a potential option. Currently, Chattanooga is winning 6-3 over Birmingham. The Blake Dunn show continues. He hit a leadoff home run for a second straight game. And then Jose Torres, he also hit a home run, his 3rd of the year. He just hit a home run a couple days ago, so 2 of his 3 home runs have been recently. He is one of the Reds' top 30 prospects, a shortstop. I know Barry Larkin loves Torres, just hasn't really put much together of late, and just went final. Dayton Dragons, they lost 8-5 to Wisconsin. Jay Allen was 0 for 5. Edwin Arroyo was was 1 for 4. Matt Nelson did have 3 hits. And then Cade Hunter, the guy that just got promoted, Reds' 5th round draft pick of last year, catcher that also plays a lot of left field, hit 2 home runs tonight. So I think this is only like his 3rd or 4th game with the Dragons. Had a really good night. And then last but not least, the Daytona Tortugas, they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th to win 3-2. And it was all the top prospects that got it done. Carlos Jorge had a single, Sal Stewart walked, Cam Collier tripled, and then Logan Tanner singled home the winning run to walk off the Hammerheads. So there you go. That's your Reds MILB, presented by Betfred Sportsbook.
Nick, Anon76 with the chat. As Jay-Z would say, can I get a what? Let's go Reds. Can you do a can I get a what?
What?
No, I don't think that's how it goes. All right. Anon, I know deep down what you're really trying to do. And you know what? It's been a long time, so I'm actually going to do it. There during that winning streak, I got to tell you, I was surviving. I was fighting for my life. I knew what you wanted. You come in with another super chat, Fireball Trace. I want that cap click like your Miller Lite when you open it. Well, that's not how this works, Anon. You know better than that. No free ads, by the way. Cinnamon whiskey. I don't know what I'm going to do for a dunk. I don't even know where the baseball is. But this is for what we've been through for this past week, which has been, I've never been to hell. And I suggest hell is probably a hell of a lot tougher than what my past week has been, but it was a hell of a lot closer to hell than it was heaven this past week watching the Reds. So cheers to that. Much love to Nick and him fighting for his life to start the show as well. Oh, man. Whew, boys, I tell you what. All right. 4 bangers can't happen right now. That just can't happen. Nick, I know you have it around. I can hear the suede or the beads. I can hear the suede of the beads just rippling right through the airwaves. Let the people see it. Let them see it.
So, sorry, folks, you have to see Nick Cage in standard definition. He doesn't deserve this. Let's be honest. This is on me. It's not on Nick Cage. So apologize. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have Nick Cage back in full, crystal clear 1080p. But until then, there you go.
Nice.
We got to kind of zoom out a little bit.
Nice. That looks great, Nick. That looks great. You know what? We thought there for just a half a second that this Reds team was going to lay over and die. We thought. And then last night, they get a lead, they give it up. They get a lead, they give it up. They come back. They're a swing away from winning it all. They lose. You didn't think they were going to lay over and die, did you?
No chance.
I thought about it for a half a second last night before I lay to sleep. But they didn't. And you know what? You know what the beautiful thing is? I'm going to dunk a basketball. I haven't forgotten how to do that, I don't think. We're going to do our best. Nick? Who, what, when, where, and why, please?
Well, Reds going for a series split. That would be pretty incredible to finish this off. 12:35 tomorrow. Reds and Giants. Great pitching matchup. Head down to GABP if you're in the area. Alex Cobb, he's had a heck of a year. 6-2, 2.82 ERA. He was an all-star, threw a scoreless inning in the all-star game. Last 2 starts, he's only allowed 1 run in 12 innings. He's got a career 1.48 ERA against the Reds. Last year, 2 starts, 10 innings, 10 and a third, 2 earned runs against the Reds. But Jake Fraley, he is 2 for 5 with the home run. Votto, 3 for 12 against him. Be ready for first pitch strikes. He throws first pitch strikes the 3rd most in baseball, and he uses his changeup more than anyone else in baseball except for his teammate, Logan Webb. And then it'll be Andrew Abbott for the Reds coming off a really solid start against the Brewers on Saturday. 6 innings, just 3 hits, 2 runs allowed. Home runs is a little bit of a concern with Abbott. He has allowed 8 home runs over his last 4 starts, but this is a good matchup for Abbott because the Giants are significantly, I would say, a pretty significantly weaker team against left-handed pitching. So hopefully this is a matchup that Abbott can have some success and get the Reds out with the series split before they welcome the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of? I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, then I don't have to tell you.
I like corn.
What do you like about corn?
Ever since
He sucks!
I was told that corn was real, it tasted good.
Did you think corn wasn't real?
But when I tried it with butter, everything changed. I love corn. Corn.
Do you think everyone should be eating corn?
No, not everyone has to like it to be the best.
Yeah.
Everyone just has to try it. Have a bite.
What else are your favorite things?
I play a variety of games.
All right, that's enough of him. All right. Much love to Cobb tomorrow, but I'm not really a big fan of him, to be honest. He looks like a dork. Unless he pitches for the Reds, I'll change my mind. All right. You know what time it is? It's time for me to try to make a fool of myself, which means one thing.
It has to do.
That's bad news.
It's the part I
That's
love
bad
you.
news. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. All right, folks. I brought a pump because I got to be honest with you. The ball's flat. The ball's flat. It's not been used in like 3 weeks. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pump this ball up, and we're going to throw it down so hard that I get in trouble. That's the plan tonight. So much love to you. All right? The Cincinnati Reds are still America's team. I'm pretty sure of it. The last time I checked, they are America's team. And by God, last time I checked, America's more than likely the greatest country on earth. If you're asking me, it is. So, till tomorrow, much love, everybody. I'm going to go try to dunk this basketball. Athlete.